After opening rounds at Sonoma, Sebring, and Circuit of the Americas, Toyota GR Cup North America returns to action at Virginia International Raceway. This 3.2-mile, 17-turn road course has a half-century history, but it's just the second trip to GR Cup to this facility since the series began. It's sort of a back-to-school from a summer break scenario, and there's 7 new students in this field here at VIR. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Ash Vandelay here today, and Ash, we're going to see the grid here rolling very shortly. Welcome aboard. This is a pretty exciting weekend to have a whole bunch of drivers that are new here this weekend as well.
They say Virginia is for lovers, and I absolutely love Toyota GR Cup, and I'm so astounded and excited to be here today with you. We're watching 33 drivers this weekend, the biggest field yet for the series this season. Yeah, so we saw the starting lineup there. Jackson Bell, Spike Kohlbecker on the front row, then Ethan Goulart, Gresham Wagner in row 2, Christian Weir, Mia Lovell in row number 3. Row 4 is Tyler Wettingel and Weston Workman with Jordan Rick Segrini and Ford Cook in row number 5. In row 6, you have Luke Rumberg in the 31, Alex Sedgwick in the 44. Next is Zachary Hollingshead and Lucas Weisenberg running out row 7. Moving on to Anna Nsume, Henry Drury, and Max Hewitt starting row 8 with Jade Afedesian rounding that out. Up next, Casey Mashore and Stephen Clements in that 76. And starting in 21st, beginning row 11, is Ethan Tovo, a 14-year-old who just had a birthday yesterday. Matty Oust starts alongside him. Braden Arthur in the number 34 starts 23rd, and Alex Garcia in 24th in the 14. William Lambros starts 25th in the 77. Alfonso Diaz on the outside. And then Jensen Safronis, 13 years old, starts 27th alongside Bennett Muldoon. Jackson Tovo, brother to Ethan, rolls off 29th, and Jason Kose alongside him with James Klimas and Devin Anderson rounding out your 16th row, with Jack Woodfin bringing up the rear of the 33-car field here at VIR. Ash, this is a big weekend. We've got 33 cars here this weekend with 7 new drivers. There's lots to learn. The track is a little wet. It's a little bit of a challenging scenario here, so what the series is going to do is start the clock here behind the safety car and let everyone at least see the racetrack a couple more times. Yeah, with the rain a little bit earlier, I mean, VIR, we know it's not a lot of runoff like COTA that we experienced before the summer break. So with the grass still wet from the rain, they want to be very, very careful, especially with how narrow it gets here at VIR. Yeah, super narrow. The racing line in some places narrows up quite a bit. There's a lot of painted curbs in those areas as well. As we've seen in some of the races earlier this weekend, those painted curbs can get very slick as well. But the track is drying, and so we might see a bit of a transition over this race. And, you know, this series is relatively young, about a year and a half old, Ash, but we've never once seen wet weather tires used in a race scenario here in this championship. So that's all new to everybody here in this field. With this track, it's difficult to get right, as you mentioned, but easy to get wrong. There's primarily 2 or 3 overtaking zones. A lot of the circuit is that one-way straight, right, going into Horseshoe, seeing those moves into NASCAR Bend and Left Hook. But outside of that, you know, only other opportunities maybe going up into turn 14 a roller coaster, but that's narrow and fast because so much time is spent on the throttle of these cars, on the limit of that Continental tire. Absolutely. So with the field getting a couple of laps here behind the safety car, of course, we mentioned the clock already has begun, but we should get a start here relatively shortly. Once the lights extinguish on that Toyota GR Cup safety car, then we'll turn them loose here. But as far as the championship is concerned, it's all Gresham Wagner at the top of the order. He's won all but one race so far this season. Didn't get full points at Circuit of the Americas, which is the only one he hasn't won so far. That win went to Jackson Bell, who starts on pole here in this one, Ash. So this could, you know, be a little bit of a changing point here in the season. There's still enough time for someone to go up there and challenge Gresham Wagner and all of Copeland Motorsports, but Tech Sport Racing in particular with Kohlbecker and 15-year-old Ethan Goulart, there are some drivers up there I think can do it. And a home race for Tech Sport Racing. I mean, they put in so much work week in and week out. It's so great to see them here, P2, P3, maybe chipping away those points of Copeland Motorsports. We're here for a heck of a race, and I'm so excited to watch. We have some incredible talent on the field, as well as throughout our 33 drivers. Yeah, you mentioned the 33-car field, which is great. There's been a lot of interest in this series and a lot of new names. We mentioned 7 total, and one of the other ones is the driver of the 51, Zachary Hollingshead for Copeland Motorsports, hopping in that car, as well as Alex Sedgwick for Precision Racing LA, who will add to that camp here this weekend. But cars doubled up here. Lights are out on the GR86 safety car driven by Mike Stillwagon. Some wipers on here and there. The track's not dry. It's not completely wet, though, so it's going to be a bit of a challenging circumstance here, Ash. But this is going to be a wild one. 45 minutes racing. We're going to have about 41 when we get the green. They have a little bit of air, of course, but at their speed, you're really relying entirely on that mechanical grip, and thankfully the GR86, of course, is so comfortable, and the driver can control that, and we'll see it here as we start.
It's all about that classic front engine, rear drive balance. And here in Toyota GR Cup North America, it's been a bit of a summer break. It's been a while since we've seen the green flag action back at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. But with a trip to Alton, Virginia, we restart this championship in the second half of the year after we complete the rounds here this weekend. Jackson Bell, Spike Kohlbecker from Tech Sport Racing on the front row, green flag, and we're racing finally at Virginia International Raceway. Jackson Bell, Spike Kohlbecker fairly even. There was a couple cars bumping and banging in the back, some damage already, and looks like a fender liner flying in the background, 3 wide into turn 1.
4 wide even.
That's tight, Ash, as we get through the first corner.
It is high risk, high reward here at VIR, and I love to see the risks these drivers are taking, some of them for the first time here at this track.
Yeah, a lot of drivers for their first time at this racetrack, and for the Tovo brothers and for Jensen Sofronis, this is their first time in a car at all. I mean, they come from a karting background, but not what we would call a tin top car, a sports car that's full-bodied sized car. They can't even race in other organizations because they're not old enough yet, but they will get kind of the baptism of a lifetime here at VIR in the rain. Jordan Rick-Segrini chasing Lucas Weisenberg up here through Snake. This is a very narrow part of the racetrack that you were talking about, Ash.
It looks like Mia Lovell moved up to P5 from P6, passing Christian Weir, looking for the highest finishing female position award.
Yeah, cash prizes on the line for the highest finishing female, and Mia Lovell has gotten that a handful of times, looking to kind of reset her championship after having a great round at Sonoma. Things didn't go so well at Sebring and Coda, though, so hoping to get right back on the train of good results here in her Copeland Motorsports 57.
We have the cars evening out here now in a single file, with Jackson Bell still leading the way with Spike Kohlbecker still on his heels with the 44, making that pass inside the 13.
It's Alex Sedgwick there on the 13 of Weston Workman. Comes off of a victory in another series north of the border last week, which that was a big win for him. And I think he's got a lot of confidence as well coming into a series where he's got a lot of support from his teammates, and Copeland Motorsports in general has been so phenomenal. I believe they've swept every podium this season so far. So, you're looking at Kohlbecker and Goulart that are running up in that top 5 to try to knock Copeland Motorsports off that top step. But here comes the 21 of Ford Cook, that purple and black grip car. And they're having a great start to this race, I'd say, Ash.
I'd say Lucas.
Oh, trouble contact, and Lucas Weisenberg got hit, and he's going to blast through the GR signs there on the run down through roller coaster. Just got tipped off course, and he will pull it back on the racetrack.
What a great save for Lucas Weisenberg. He did win here last year, so he's quite familiar.
And Hollingshead, one of the Copeland Motorsports cars, is off, and so is, I believe that's Alex Garcia in the 14. Big splash through the puddles. But that was a dramatic run down there through roller coaster and through turn 17.
Actually, once you touch that grass, you're in for a ride, especially how wet it is.
A big run down here into turn 1. That's the 13 of Weston Workman on the 71 of Christian Ware. Another relatively new driver here to the championship, joining Tech Sport Racing here this weekend on a home weekend, as you pointed out. But Ash, this battle for the lead's getting interesting. Here comes Spike Kohlbecker. And Ethan Goulart is dropped back as we, actually, he's right behind Gresham Wagner there, so that's been a trade of position. So Wagner, the championship leader, moving up to 3rd place overall. And given that he's won all but one race, perhaps that's still the target everyone's fixated on, despite him being behind them at this moment.
And my favorite part of this series, of course, we have 33 cars, but it's not a 33 race pack. There's battles up and down the grid for every single position. There are fights and racing we'll be seeing here. A cameraman might not be able to keep up, actually.
Yeah, this series kind of breaks into different groups and packs. It's not all one massive pack like you might see in some other organizations. You get little groups here and there, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, and over the course of the race, we get to watch battles in nearly all of them. As Henry Drury in the 76 has a big lunge. That's Stephen Clemens for BSI Racing. That was a brave move up the inside into a tricky corner.
Now we're going 2 by 2. Is that pass going to be able to stick? Because there is the traffic you also have to manage with the 88 passing on the inside.
There's Jordan Rick-Segrini and Jade Avedisian that are side by side. Nitro Motorsports on the left, and that is BSI Racing on the right. And drag race now, Casey Mashore in that bright yellow car, also in that pack as they run up the hill. Jackson Bell and Spike Kohlbecker. Look at Spike moving left, moving right. And I guess the one thing I don't know from the start of this here, Ash, is what tires everybody's on, because the track started in sort of a damp state. Certainly not entirely a wet tire track. There's still plenty of dry areas. But here's a look at your points. Gresham Wagner's lead is pretty stout over the Copeland Motorsports Jackson Bell and Weston Workman Group, and then of course Spike Kohlbecker a long ways back with 95.
And Spike Kohlbecker now knows this, and that's why he's not letting go here, attacking on the Copeland Motorsports here. Still in P2, currently the gap so small. With 36 minutes left to go, Spike wants to narrow down those points.
Yeah, a big run here on the race leader. He's going to pop out to the left. He's got a lot of track knowledge here. This is one of Tech Sports' home facilities. Tucks right in behind Jackson Bell through turn 1, and Gresham Wagner and Ethan Goulart are having a great battle for third behind as well. 2 packs of 2 up here in the top 5, Ash.
Yeah, that straightaway is where we're going to build that slipstream for a run into roller coaster. A little bit of hipping and shouldering here as we go through those passes, but so far so great in this action here in Toyota GR Cup.
As a fun battle to watch here. Kohlbecker is keeping Jackson Bell on his heels. Little slide there for Christian Weir in the 71, leaving what they call NASCAR bend into left hook and then through snake. And for here on out, it's effectively flat. You might have to make a bit of a lift at the top of the hill. Jackson Bell dropping tires in the dirt. Look how much dirt is on the track there, Ash. That's going to be slippery.
Luckily, everyone seems to be handling that exceptionally well, as Jackson and Spike are still fighting with Gresham Wagner and Ethan Goulart. Weston Workman and Christian Weir maybe looking in the back, waiting for an opportunity to seize the seconds during the battle.
I think also the comfort of the drivers as we go on through this race. It's a 45-minute race. We have 35 to go. You're going to gain a lot of confidence throughout this race as the track dries out. Here's the 76 of Stephen Clemens, and big slide there through South Bend and just up the road, Wettengel, and the new driver, Alex Sedgwick, in the 44 from Precision Racing LA.
There's often discussion if you want to be the chasee or the chaser, and everyone has their preferences as we're side by side here with the 21 and the 46 of Ford, Koch, and Lucas Weisenberg.
Whoop. One car off, it's one of the Skip Barber Racing School cars. William Lambros, the 77, just noses into the barriers fairly gently, but just a bit of left front damage as well. Drop the left side off the track. And once you're off in the grass here, Ash, as we've seen all morning, you're just along for the ride at that stage.
And luckily those tire barriers absorb that energy very, very well. And this GR86 is incredible and right back on the racetrack.
Battle for the lead, and Spike Kohlbecker had a nose ahead for a moment, but Jackson Bell wrestled it back down the hill through roller coaster, and Gresham Wagner is watching all of this with a target fixated on the tailgate of that 55 of Kohlbecker. Big lateral slide. See how much dirt and Virginia clay is packed on the nose of that car.
A best defense is a great offense here at VIR, and Jackson Bell is showing that. But Spike is not letting go, really going in for that P1 fight. And Gresham Wagner just waiting in the back to capitalize, just in case.
Yeah, he certainly is. And, well, the 14's off again. Again, this is Alex Garcia, who won his TCA race this morning, but started this race with some contact on the opening lap, and since then has had a couple of small offs. Look at this mess down towards turn 1. That's Casey Mashore on the left. I think that's Lucas Weisenberg ahead, and that blue car, I think, is Max Hewitt. Indeed it is, the 39 from BSI Racing. This is a great pack, and here too as well behind Sedgwick. What a battle we've got going on.
Absolutely my favorite part of this series. I can't emphasize this enough. That 80 not letting that 76 through, but
ooh, big slide
big
there
slide.
for me, a level in the 57. Ford Cook as well, and Lucas Weisenberg will take advantage of that down into left hook. Little contact there between the 80 and the 76.
Stephen Clements and keeping it in. Again, you mentioned that dirt on track, able to keep it on track beautifully.
Yeah, you have to pull the car back to the right pretty aggressively there just to keep it on the road through that section through Snake. Lots of aggressive racing at the moment. This is fantastic stuff in changing conditions and a variety of experience levels. Now through the S's, Tyler Wettengel's got Stephen Clemens on the tailgate there, and then the 88 of Henry Drury, Precision Racing LA with PT Autosport. And Drury was a competitor in the GR Cup Esports event that happened last week that was in the rain. So maybe there's something that he picked up from the simulator. More contact between the 80 and the 76.
And the 88 capitalizes on that, passing on through the 80 and the 76 pretty easily.
Yeah, leaning on each other a bit there. I think they'll not be stoked with each other after that, but you know, just get a little bit of what Calvin would call argy-bargy and carry on. Here comes Spike Kohlbecker for the lead, Ash, down the back straightaway, and he's got it leading into roller coaster.
You can afford to scrap a little bit, but you might lose time. You gotta be careful. Gresham Wagner right behind, waiting again to capitalize. Ethan Goulart not too far behind as well, his Tech Sport Racing teammate from Spike Kohlbecker.
Yeah, Gresham Wagner's waiting in the wings there. He's been pretty patient, I have to say. Didn't start up on the front row. Qualifying this morning was a very interesting session. It got wet at the very last minute, and those that were planning some runs. This is a challenge for Gresham to pull forward here in this race. He's taking his time, but as we notice, the spray's gone away, Ash, but the wipers are on. So it must be raining again out there on circuit, which is going to be another challenge to navigate.
Then, as we mentioned before, it's hard to hide in VIR, right? Especially with these runoff areas, the grass is wet, and we're trying to navigate the traffic as well. So again, at the end of qualifying was a little bit of rain, so these drivers might be tiny used to it, but some of these new folks may not be familiar with the track, especially in the rain. Yeah,
that's Luke Rumberg they're working by. He was down on pit lane the last time out. He's going to do the sportsman thing and pull to the left here. It'll allow Jackson Bell to go by, and Gresham Wagner will follow on the outside. A little awkward there at left hook.
Looks like Skyboat Kohlbecker has completed the pass on Jackson Bell and now building that gap to grab that lead and make sure Jackson doesn't take it back.
Yeah, and Spike did a nice job doing that, and now Jackson Bell has not really been able to stick with him in the opening sector of this lap. So again, Kohlbecker had a couple of wins last season and was a championship contender all the way through. And I think there was an incident at Sebring last year that kind of ended his championship hopes, but certainly it has to be a factor again this year. 4th in the championship standings coming into this event, so looking to really right the ship and get a victory. He was 2nd in race 2 at Circuit of the Americas, but I know how much he wants to win. And spent the last couple of weeks hiking and going on trips just to kind of clear the brain a bit and get set for this battle in the second half of the season.
And something great about these single make series is that there's little to hide at these speeds with these cars. So it's really up to the driver, trusting their equipment and having that skill set show through, especially in the wet.
Yeah, certainly. BOP's pretty good too, isn't it? The Toyotas are all pretty equal as well, and fairly stock engines in these cars. Again, the transmission is that Sadev 6-speed sequential. It's a lever-operated transmission. There's a big hunk of debris out there. To me, that looks at first glance like it's a fender liner or something. It looks like it's just plastic, but that red and yellow surface condition flag is just alerting drivers of a potential issue on the circuit surface for the moment.
We've seen some of the aggression die down a little as it started to rain. However, drivers are developing that dry line as we keep going over and over. The wipers still on a little bit, but not raining too hard as it was previously about 30 minutes to 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, Christian Ware in the 71, feeling some pressure from Stephen Clemens in the 76, who is actually Ware has gone behind Henry Drury. I was wondering where the 88 car went, so Drury's passed Ware, and now Clemens is putting some pressure on. Here's Lucas Weisenberg, who won race 1 here last year against Gresham Wagner, and right behind him, Tyler Wettingel in that Nitro Motorsports number 80.
You really want to fill the rear view mirror of your competitor. Oh, and the 51 spinning out in the grass here.
Yeah, that's Zach Hollingshead. It's his first weekend here in this car, and turn 17 has been a challenging area of the racetrack for these cars in particular, but he will get back rolling with a bit of a mud spray behind him. But now carrying on here through NASCAR bend into left hook, everyone using the outside edge of the racetrack, Ash. It's been wet out there all day, but as Calvin was telling me earlier, you're not really leaning on a lot of the tire load. By that point, you're pretty much straightened out. Car through the middle of Snake. Someone shot to the left there and just went straight through the dirt. And we'll get back on course. Didn't pick up what car that was, but they will drop into line now. I think it was that Christian Ware in that 71? It might have been. Yeah, I believe it was the white car. So he'll tuck in behind Lucas Weisenberg, who's trying to work his way back up after that off he had at turn 17 on the opening lap of this race.
The ability of them and their cars to bounce so quickly has been extremely impressive to watch.
It has been, and honestly, especially for these young drivers, if you make a mistake, you just have to learn to shake it off and carry on, right? If you get in your own head, you're just going to cause more issues to yourself throughout the race. So just riding the ship, get back up on the horse and ride it all the way to the finish. And just get a clean race under your belt. Even if you make a mistake, there's still a long way to go, 28 minutes. We're not even halfway done yet, so there's plenty of opportunity to get back up there. So there's that piece of debris. It's pretty far off to the left. We still see the surface condition flag, but out front, Spike Kohlbecker has a 0.6 of a second advantage over the rest of the field, but there's what 0.6 looks like. It's not that much.
Not that much, but you still have Ethan Goulart and Gresham Wagner still pretty close to that P1 and maybe waiting, maybe that patience. You got 27 minutes left. Don't want to show all your cards just yet.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Ethan Goulart. He's not a part of this front 3 battle that we have in the camera shot here, but he's not too far behind. His first weekend here in the Tech Sport Racing 47. His dad used to race for the team as well a handful of years ago. So a very exciting start to the day, and he's got Weston Workman chasing him down. But there's your front 3, Kohlbecker, Bell, and Wagner. It's Tech Sport Racing versus Copeland Motorsports. That's been the topic all year long.
Incredible. Again, a home race for Tech Sport Racing.
It looked like it was raining a lot over there by NASCAR Bend. Let's maybe see it again. This shot when we watch the 80 of Wettingel battle Christian Ware. And you see the rain coming down in this shot, certainly. So one of the challenges of having a racetrack that's over 3 miles long, Ash, is the weather might be completely different on one side of the track versus the other.
And it goes back to your question, what tires were certain teams on? And what advantages here? That your experience is going to play a huge role in this.
The 88 continues to work his way up through the snake there. The Drury car leading the way up through the S's now. There's a look at the top 3. Spike Kohlbecker, Jackson Bell, Gresham Wagner. And there's Goulart and Workman. Look at Goulart in that 47. He has seen some dirt and mud flying all over the place. He's got some partners with him here this weekend as well, helping him along in this car. But this is great to see another young driver. His experience and background is in spec racers, which have a very similar, actually the same Sadev 6-speed sequential transmission. He said the only thing that was different was how much you had to actuate the lever to actually get a gear change. So that's going to help as well. And here's Mia Lovell and Max Hewitt side by side.
Love to see the passing and the aggression and the fighting here on track with a little bit of argy-bargy, but keeping it clean side by side.
Yeah, a little more touches there. That's the 34 car in the mix as well. The JMF Motorsports car, Braden Arthur, had a really strong run at Circuit of the Americas, at least as far as the pace was concerned. Didn't really get the finishes he deserved there, but he was fast in qualifying.
And you can see Jade Afedisian also waiting right behind them, waiting to capitalize off that battle.
Down the back straightaway now, look at the 34 popping out of line side by side with Hewitt. Braking duel, challenging braking point because of the left kink before you head down this hill. And Jade Afedisian give it a shot to the back of the 34 through roller coaster. And she was the winner of the highest finishing female back at Circuit of the Americas. She had a really nice result there, top 5, I believe. So working their way through turn 17. So one of the things we were talking about, Ash, is that the Continental does have a wet tire available. Now, what we were told in the driver's meeting about the potential for tire changes is that they're not going to encourage live pit stops. So while there is a wet tire available, with the likely scenario, as we watch Jade Afedisian take another shot there at the 34, the likely scenario, if it gets rainy to the point where the stewards think that wet tires are an option, then they will give the field an opportunity, likely by calling a full course yellow. They'll give everyone the chance to put on wet tires. They will not force anyone to do that, but they're not going to encourage the idea of coming down and doing a hot pit stop on pit lane.
And in your expert opinion, Kyle?
Right now, I still think it's a dry track. I'm going to give it another 5 or 6 minutes before I think of a different opinion on it. But right now, I think it's treacherous for sure. But the wet tire is designed for a wet track, not just damp spots like you see. So it's got to really be raining enough to really give that the surface a shimmer. As we watch this battle here, Lucas Weisenberg and Stephen Clemens side by side through the S's. Pounding the curb on the right is the 76. That was a heck of a battle. You can't do that side by side through the S's. That was cool.
But Lucas said, I can. And he's won here last year, and I think he wants to win again. He's just climbing up this grid very impressively.
Remember, he won race 1 here last year, and race 2 was caught up in a collision. So, you know, it was a disappointing end of the weekend last year, but that's where he's gotten his one and only win. So he has got a lot of experience here at this racetrack. He knows how to get it done. Got off on the wrong foot with that off early in the race, but you know, I don't know if he can get all the way back to the lead. He's back 11.5 seconds, but I can't count it out, especially with the conditions potentially changing even more.
And we mentioned there are 33 cars on the grid, but we're seeing the pack start to form of where the racing is happening as Lucas Weisberg, of course, does pass Stephen Clemens here in the standings.
Yeah, so working his way up now into 7th place overall, as we've got about 23 minutes of racing to go. And the next on his list to pass would be Henry Drury in the 88, the Precision Racing LA with PT Autosport car. Right in shot, a huge slide for Drury. Gathers it up, but he was hanging the rear end of that car out almost over the edge of the track. And Clemens gets a great run down the front stretch.
And you can see the rain in this shot so beautifully. And of course, changing across the entire track because it's 3.27 miles.
Yeah, again, it's kind of working its way. This system is working its way across the facility. It was at NASCAR Bend. Now it's on the front straightaway. Big slide in the braking zone there. The ABS doing a lot of work to keep the 46 from going off. And he slipped at 17, which is what gave Clemens the opportunity to do the over-under.
This back and forth is my absolutely favorite part of the Toyota GR Cup.
I mean, this is great spectator conditions. It's great to watch this battle in the rain. Really challenging for the drivers to navigate, though, as we watch the 80 and the 71. Wettingel and Ware do a battle for 9th.
And as we are through half of the time of the session, a little over 22 minutes left of the board, we have Spike Kohlbecker chipping away at that lead, now building that gap to 0.827.
Yeah, so the thing that Spike's got to worry about is he might be the first one to the changing weather, right? As the system moves around, we've got that big gap in traffic, but Spike will be the first one to get there. So he's got to be cautious and keep that gap behind him as steady as he can without charging too hard. If you make a mistake and you go off the racetrack, you'll throw away everything. If you're a little too cautious, you might give up 1 or 2 spots, Ash, but big picture racing here today at VIR.
Jackson Bell and the Copeland Motorsports behind him, his teammates Gresham, Wagner, and Weston Workman rounding out the top 4 with Alex Sedgwick currently from Precision Racing LA in the 44, rounding out top 5.
Great debut for Alex Sedgwick. Has a lot of experience in some higher horsepower cars as well. Has been racing a lot lately and stepped into this ride when it became available. And Sedgwick has driven it up to P5 at the moment. So I think they're pretty happy with that. Precision Racing LA has cars 5th and 6th at the moment. So that's got to be a very positive moment as we get past the halfway point in this race. 21 minutes to go. And here comes a look from, I think that's Christian Ware to the side of Wettingel here for 9th. And he's through in the, oh, not quite. Braking duel and Wettingel later on the brakes. Wettingel's been in the series a bit longer. He knows how much he can push. Big shot of fire out the tailpipes there. And Ash, I've always said cars that shoot fire out the tailpipe are better than cars that don't shoot fire out the tailpipe. That's always a cool spectacle. Down into 17 though, Max Hewitt in the 39, running 12th right now, and Jade Avedisian just behind Mia Lovell in this 57 car. So this is a great little scrap just outside the top 10.
And like I mentioned before, battles up and down the grid. Again, a Spike Kohlbecker from Techsport Racing. Now that gap even bigger at a 1.181. Maybe for him, great to be the chase seat.
Yeah, certainly. There's the 44 of Sedgwick. That's some lap traffic there in the form of the 31 of Luke Rumberg that was down the order earlier in this race. And watch the 44. Going back to the battle between Braden Arthur and Alex Garcia. And Alex got into the side of somebody at the very launch and kind of crinkled up that right front corner, but it hasn't affected him a whole lot. So he'll take it.
Waiting to complete the pass here on the 34 of Braden Arthur.
Yeah, and Braden's doing a nice job in defense mode here. And the only thing that damage will really hurt, provided it hasn't knocked any mechanical parts loose, is it will, you know, potentially hurt your top speed. But again, in the rain, I'm not sure we're quite getting up to what we call VMAX just yet either. So go back to Sedgwick there. There's Luke Rumberg. And the battle for, I think it's, make that 12th place, Mia Lovell and Jade Avedisian. There is something more on the line there as well. The highest finishing female award that you mentioned. There's several $1,000s on the line between Mia and Jade there for 12th and 13th. But all chasing.
And while you're battling for position, small mistakes and poor decisions have such large consequences here at VIR.
They sure do. And I mean, the consequences here is they're missing out on a couple $1,000 paycheck at the end of the day. So one of the cars peeling off, is that the 80? No, it's not the 80. Which car was that? Henry Drury, potentially, the PT Autosport Precision Racing LA car, making a run down the South Paddock pit lane. We don't use that pit lane here, but it's a safe place to escape if you've got a potential problem with the car. And you see now one of the workers going to see what they can do, but that's a shame there for Henry Drury. And then here's Mia Lovell pressuring Max Hewitt again into roller coaster.
Mia Lovell feeling that pressure from Jade Avedisian, wants to pass Max Hewitt to make sure Jade stays behind.
Again, this is two experienced drivers in their own right. Mia comes from sort of an action sports background in skateboarding, and Jade drives a lot of dirt cars on the Toyota side as well. So this is something that will probably suit her pretty well, as this rain racing battle for second. Jackson Bell and Gresham Wagner.
Both teammates in Copeland Motorsport being extremely respectful. Look at all that space. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, great respect here between these two. And I think, you know, Gresham is a very competitive driver, but I think he was pretty happy to see Jackson Bell pick up a win there. Bell slips sideways, and here comes Gresham down the inside. I will say I am a bit surprised that Gresham hasn't completed this pass a bit sooner, just with how much faster he's been all season. Again, second place isn't bad, not saying that, certainly, but he has been, you know, taking his time with this and making sure he can complete the pass before he goes for it. But now, It's 2 seconds to catch Spike Kohlbecker.
And after you race each other for quite a while, again, this is the midpoint of the season, you kind of pick up on your habits of your fellow competitors, even, of course, your teammates more so. So Gresham Wagner and Jackson Bell definitely knowing how to race each other, which might actually be the problem for them if they want to pass each other quickly.
Yeah, especially your teammates. I think sometimes you might be more competitive with your teammates than you are with everybody else because they have the exact same crew as you. They're going to run probably the same setup as you. So, yeah, it's kind of an in-house battle there at Copeland to see who can be the top step there. You look at Wettingel and Weir in that 71. Great 4-horse battle here over South Bend.
Again, for different positions here on the raceway. We were looking at that battle on the top, but of course, some people have different goals for this race.
Mia Lovell must have made a mistake. She's dropped now behind the 24 Jade Avedisian. Remember, she was ahead of Jade and battling Max Hewitt for a spot, so she's slipped a couple of positions. Now rides just a couple seconds up the road from Alfonso Diaz and Maddie Oust also, we should mention, who comes from a background last year of running in the touring car series, made the step into Toyota GR Cup North America this season. It's been a bit of a learning experiment for her, but every round she gets better and better and quicker, and she's about to be in the middle of this battle for the highest finishing female award.
I was about to say it's a 6-car battle for P13 alone.
It's been fun to watch, and Maddie's in that Endava car chasing Alfonso Diaz, another Tech Sport driver, Ash, so this has been a fun race so far.
Tech Sport putting on a great show and a great race. They work so hard for their home crowd.
Yeah, this is fantastic for them. Big slide there, though, for Diaz, and Maddie Oust will see it and drive through, and she'll move her way up into 13th position. And Diaz will tuck back in, maybe use the slipstream to have a run back at her into turn 1, and just behind is, it was a brighter color before this race, but it's the yellow car of Casey Mashore. Christian Weir and Wettingel side by side here for 8th.
A little bit of a light touch, but obviously nothing occurring here with a nice clean pass after.
This is great battling here. Great respect between these drivers. Weir's going to take it tight here into NASCAR Bend. Open the door is Wettingel. That was dicey there. Jade Avedisian's got to run on Hewitt into left hook. No dice, though. Not close enough, Ash, to get that move done for Jade.
That 4-way battle now for P8 that we're watching right now.
The fastest lap was last time by. Alex Sedgwick ran the quickest lap of the race at 2:15.8. Just for reference, that's about 10 seconds off of where we would have seen qualifying be. And a big ride there for Alfonso Diaz through Snake. Got crossed up and had to straight line it.
Able to keep it back on the track. Something I love about Toyota GR Cup is that the series is kind of just designed to be inclusive of a wide variety of competitors and for enthusiasts, and we're just seeing that here.
Yeah, and as we're also seeing the championship standings as they run, Gresham Wagner over Weston Workman and Jackson Bell would actually be extending his lead because coming into the day, Spike Kohlbecker was 4th, so he's not quite on this graphic just yet, but give him a win or 2, including tomorrow, and he might just be on this graphic. Yeah,
but Jackson Bell's not letting his teammate go off too quickly, still half a second behind him, waiting to make another move.
Alex Sedgwick, fastest car on the racetrack, having a look here at Weston Workman's JBL Toyota down into roller coaster. And the Segra, the blue Segra machine. This is a great run for this team and for Sedgwick, who's jumping in first time in this car here this weekend, at least in a race scenario, is chasing Weston Workman, who has been on top of a bunch of single make championships as of late. I mentioned his win in Canada at CTMP last week, and now stepping back into the GR Cup car to hopefully repeat that success. And right back to Wettingel and Weir. They want their camera time today, don't they, Ash?
Hey, and we'll give it to them. We love seeing this kind of action here in this series.
Mia Lovell once again all over the rear wing of Jade Avedisian. There's that highest finishing female award. The battle is going on right now. Mia looks left, contact there down the front straightaway. And that was a wake-up call. It's like ringing the doorbell. I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, I think she was just letting her know and seeing what she can kind of get away with. What are her limits here?
Oh, was that a little lockup there on the right front for Jade Avedisian, using the front bumper on the BSI racing car of Max Hewitt. Opens the door for Mia Lovell. Side by side there between the two girls as they head to turn 3.
Some great space being left here. Look at this pass, but can Mia achieve it here, maybe?
Whoa, big crossover. That's awesome. She tried to do the over-under and just didn't have the momentum to finish it out, but Jade Avedisian, she is running out of patience. You can tell she wants to go.
Part of this is just managing the traffic, of course. Mia probably could have accomplished it, but there is a battle happening also in front of them, of their battle, so having to manage that.
This is great. 13 minutes to go, and there's still opportunity. The front of this fight is inside the top 10 to be 8th place. So that is something that Jade and Mia are both going to be hunting for. Max Hewitt sort of standing in the way of their progress at the moment, but he's waiting to see how Wettingel and Weir sort their fight out.
And I'm sure as you folks are telling from the broadcast, and if you're out on track, that amazing, unique roar of the GR86 sounds completely different from our other series because of that custom Borla exhaust that helps that 228 horsepower four-cylinder engine a little bit.
Yeah. Single exit exhaust on this car, but the engine effectively is stock and sealed factory. Jade Avedisian pokes to the inside of Hewitt on corner exit. Yeah, these motors are sealed power plants. They're the exact same thing you get in a dealership in your GR86. And it's just really fun to watch these drivers get the absolute most out of them, taking them all the way up to the 7,500 RPM red line on Madison Avenue.
Kyle, if you're Jade, what are you thinking right now? You have Mia
Defend.
behind you.
I mean, she just tried to throw a block there on Mia level, but she couldn't get there in time. So they're side by side, fenders flapping, wipers wiping. This is a great battle between these two.
Ooh, and Mia able to pass, but can she keep it?
Yeah, a little more pushing and shoving there. Stewards won't generally like to see passes done with contact, but for now it's friendly. A little more contact down here through the final corner of the racetrack here at Hog Pen, and there's a lot of money on the line here, so there's a risk that you're willing to take as far as, you know, getting the elbows out and potentially jabbing the ribs a bit.
We usually don't encourage bump drafting, but we love to see innovation here.
And Mia Level working her way forward, but her Copeland Motorsports teammate, Gresham Wagner, is up to second place as we documented. And here's a look at the pace of Gresham Wagner the last 3 laps. A little slower than Spike, and then a little quicker and personal best, and then the quickest. He just ran the best lap of the race, and we have a safety car on the racetrack. And I believe, you see the shot there, the 14 of Alex Garcia stopped on course in the Snake. So Gresham Wagner's progress to Spike Kohlbecker will be aided by the Toyota GR86 safety car, Ash.
However, if we finish under safety car, Mia Level completing that pass right before it, huge, huge, huge advantage right there.
Yeah, that is a big deal for her, and that was in the last possible moment too, because, you know, Jade never got a chance to take it back. So we're under safety car conditions now, and if all that is off is just the 14, we could get a restart, but I know that race control isn't fond of one-lap shootouts here in this series, so we'll see what the strategy will be here in the final 10 minutes of this race. We started a few minutes into the race with a safety car with the conditions that we saw, Ash, but since then it has been a thrilling fight inside the top 10. But Spike Kohlbecker has led most of this race now, and he's going to have that lead erased.
And you can see some of the white cars no longer that crisp, clean white, because it's just showing what they've been doing out on track, the work they've been putting in, the passing they've been doing, getting off track a little bit, but keeping in the fight. It's been so cool to watch, and I just absolutely love the Toyota GR Cup.
I mean, this is they've got scabs on their knees. They've been at work here today. This is, I mean, the dirt and dust and mud that's been kicked up. They've covered these cars in mud and debris and clogging all the vents and things of the sort, but you know, Ash, as we look outside, it's clearing up quite a bit, and you see there's still some spray here and there, and there is some maybe dots of rain still, but for the most part, I think it's going to dry out. But the track is still damp, and there's still water in the curbs. This is a tricky scenario for everybody in this field.
And we mentioned before the water also in the grass. Usually, of course, no runoffs like COTA, like we experienced before the summer break. But now with that water standing in the grass that we notice when we come off, those puddles still out there. You get in there, it might be hard to get back in.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be a challenge here. So it'd give everyone a minute to kind of catch their breath and do a bit of a reset.
That 57 of Mia Level looks so cool with that dirt out there in the fender. It's awesome.
It does. And she's got some parts and pieces dragging and trailing from her car, and so does Jade Avedisi, and they have had their elbows out as there is the Toyota GR86 safety car with Mike Stillwagon behind the wheel, Spike Kohlbecker, Gresham Wagner, and Jackson Bell, your top 3. Now, you saw a white flag there from the corner station, and that only means that it's the last lap when it's from the main flag stand. Everywhere else, that means there's a slow-moving or recovery vehicle on track up the road in that sector. So there's a couple tow trucks out there that the field will have to navigate here shortly. See that white flag in the top right of the screen, same thing here. Just alerting drivers that there's something slower on track.
Hopefully we are able to go back to green. Of course, safety of the utmost importance, but with that, now this field being squished back together, we're going to see that fighting, and now tenfold probably, as they're trying to gain those places back that they might have lost throughout the race.
Yeah, and I think for the cause of the yellow that we were talking about here in this sector, the 14, I think it just pulled off. You know, I think for Alex Garcia, that car was already hurting and had some damage as well. So as far as I know, it was just a pull off and shut it down for some other mechanical problem. For the 24, and that's Jade Avedizian, she is under investigation for potentially passing under yellow, which can happen in a couple different ways. Usually it's on the front end of the caution when it first comes out and they display the flags. It can sometimes be easy to miss that flag and keep racing and pass someone, and then, uh-oh, there's the double yellows, and slow down, and you've already passed under a yellow flag condition. Now, if you realize it in the moment, you can give the spot back and sometimes avoid penalty, but that is a fairly serious penalty in some instances, at least a time penalty, sometimes a lot more than that. So we'll see what happens in the final few minutes of this one as Spike Kohlbecker, he is just hoping and praying that they run this clock out and he can pick up his first win in 2024.
Oh, with a little over 6 minutes left. I mean, anything can happen, but you did mention that race control doesn't want to do that one lap shootout. Prefers not to.
Well, I mean, it's always possible.
It's always possible.
There's no rule against it, we'll say that. They just, they try not to put drivers in compromising positions, and for Spike Kohlbecker, he's done a really nice job working his way up into the front of this field and leading this event.
And if you're at the racetrack or you're watching from home on the YouTube and Twitch channel, we hope you've been enjoying the race series thus far. Absolutely. Again, my favorite.
Oh, trouble. Contact under yellow as the field checks up on the back straightaway. Someone ran into the back.
There's a little accordion just happened there.
That was the 80 of Wettingel into the back of one of the white reared cars. I think that was Christian Weir that he ran into, or maybe it was the car behind Tyler. Interesting. So that was a bit of a moment there. Everyone checking up, couldn't see up the hill with cars ahead. So yeah, so let's have a look at this. This is under yellow, so certainly race control won't love this, but look up the road, top of the screen, and check up. Bam. So that was behind Max Hewitt. Huh, I didn't really get, it's hard to get a look at that, but either way, safety car's off, lights are out, we're going racing. 5 minutes to go, Ash, and we're back underway.
This is going to be incredible, and let's go. Gresham Wagner not letting Spike Kohlbecker get away this time.
No, he's not. He's going to be all over him here. There's the 71 and 80. They're side by side behind, but Wagner using his experience. And remember last year, the other car involved in that battle where we saw Lucas Weisenberg win, it was Gresham Wagner and it was Spike Kohlbecker. So two of those three are right up front doing battle here for race one in Toyota GR Cup.
Jackson Bell not going to take that P3 willingly. 5 minutes left. He's going to take advantage of this restart being so close together.
Yeah, and I think also opportunities here for Jackson Bell. If these front two get together, he can pick up the pieces. Weston Workman, Alex Sedgwick, and of course Lucas Weisenberg. We saw his progress after his off early in the race with everyone packed back together. It offers you some easy pickings, and a drive-through penalty for Jade Avedizian for passing under yellow. So that's that catastrophic penalty I was alluding to, Ash, is they take that very seriously, and that's going to ruin the race that she had going.
That moves up Mia Lovell, though, to P11.
Yeah, but that was the battle again between her and Mia for the highest finishing female, and that will take her out of the mix. And that car has seen better days. The front of that thing has been through the trenches, so to speak, but literally, actually, also probably with all the dirt and mud on it. But into turn 11 and 12 to Oak Tree. It'll be a disappointing result, though, in the final 4 minutes of the race. But that's what happens. It's a challenging scenario for her, and hopefully she can rebound tomorrow. All the while, Kohlbecker, Wagner, Bell, Workman, the front three beginning to break away once more. But Wagner is not clearly quicker than Kohlbecker, at least on this first lap after the restart.
Well, Gresham Wagner has to defend from Jackson Bell, but then also go through an attack for Spike Kohlbecker's position. He's got an interesting balance he's going to have to do here for the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the race. And
down the hill here, 3 minutes to go, so this should be 2 laps, is what I'm guesstimating here, through Hog Pen for potentially the third to last time. And Jackson Bell, after winning at Circuit of the Americas, knows how to get it done, and he is sitting in the catbird seat here for this final couple of laps behind Wagner and Kohlbecker. I'll bet that these two have a fight before this is out.
Oh, and a slide from the 25.
It's 25 of Alfonso Diaz, and we saw him go off in Snake earlier. It's been a tough day for him, but hopefully he can get the ship righted and back on track. So Kohlbecker tracking out a bit wide, and here comes Wagner right up to the rear wing of that 55 Tech Sport racing car.
But Spike not making it easy for him.
No, Spike has done a phenomenal job today. And here's a battle for fourth. Whoa, big lunge from, is that the 21 car of Ford Cook that's up here in the mix? Where did he come from? I think he might be a lap down, actually, as far as the running order is concerned. Yeah, he's scored a lap down in the 21, but he's right up in the mix with the front runners.
Feeling inspired by the aggression happening here for the podium spot. He's like, let me get in there.
Hey, man, paid to race. Why not, right? So up the S's. And 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Kohlbecker, Wagner slipping and sliding. Wipers are wiping again, Ash. Is it raining? It is raining again, at least over there by the S's. Big slide for Wagner, chasing his car across the pavement at South Bend.
These Continental tires doing an incredible job of keeping it here on the track, and these fights, incredible.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were on wets or dries, but if they're on dries, this is an amazing display of grip by that Continental tire, because the conditions have changed so many times in this race to varying degrees. But with only a lap and a half to go, I don't know that it's going to get wet enough, but it's totally possible. So let's hold off on that for now. Up the run up Madison Avenue. Gresham Wagner in the slipstream of Spike Kohlbecker. Kohlbecker and Wagner battled for the championship last year. Of course, they had Tyler Gonzalez in the mix last year as well, but it's just between these two at the moment. Into roller coaster and a little push from Wagner.
Spike Kohlbecker keeping it clear and trying to run away with it, but Gresham Wagner doing an incredible job of keeping up with him in the final laps of the race.
Jump on the left, a curb on the right through turn 17 at Hogpen. Another lateral slide for Gresham Wagner, trying to extract as much as he can out of it. Up onto the front straightaway with 1 minute to go. It'll be white flag this time.
And I don't want to deny Jackson Bell as well, keeping the pressure on Gresham. And how do you manage both of these battles?
I mean, it's every man for himself now. Deep into the braking zone. Jackson Bell would like a part of this, and not too far back is Weston Workman. If Gresham isn't going to get up there and get alongside Spike Kohlbecker, he could face his own teammates jumping him here in the final moments of this race.
Spike can use this to his advantage as the Copeland Motorsport teammates are fighting and trying to take this time to get away.
Run, run, run. I mean, you got 3 miles left to go, and Kohlbecker, whoa, big slide across the pavement there. And you see Weston Workman dealing with lap traffic there from the 21 of Ford Cook, and he is now struggling to keep pace with the 99 as he's defending from the lap car. That's a frustrating scenario for the 13, but again, just focusing on everyone's individual battles here. Now through the climbing S's one final time. Spike Kohlbecker's big mission, Ash, is lead into roller coaster.
I believe Spike is doing that beautifully. A little bit of a gap has been built because of that battle between Jackson and Gresham.
Yeah, but you see the wipers still going. This is a slick part of the racetrack now with this bit of water that's come down in the latest few laps through South Bend. There's going to be 2 or 3 more opportunities for Wagner to drive by Spike Kohlbecker, and he's got a teammate behind him. So maybe there's a push, Ash, into this final sequence of corners. Drag race onto Madison Avenue.
Listening down to the final 3 corners before the front straightaway, the amount of modulation that braking and loading and unloading of the car is absolutely awesome to see here.
Yeah, especially with the slick conditions. You know, you're going to try not to get too deep into the ABS. You'll lose some of the braking ability. More contact leaving turn 14. That is one of those 2 cars is the 77. William Lambros didn't catch the other. But now towards roller coaster. Here comes Gresham Wagner. It's going to be now or never. Big lunge here into roller coaster. Kohlbecker trying to defend. More contact here, Ash, as they head down the hill.
You said trying. I think he did. Spike Kohlbecker beautifully blocking Gresham Wagner there.
Yeah, down through the last few corners. Race 1 in Toyota GR Cup North America at VIR. It has been a slugfest in different conditions. These 2 drivers, the juggernauts of the series from last year, returning to do battle again at VIR. This time, though, in their home event, Tech Sport Racing and Spike Kohlbecker are going to hold off Gresham Wagner from Copeland Motorsports. Spike Kohlbecker wins at VIR.
If you love racing, if you love the passion of the drivers, this series is the one. Everything you've just watched, we get to see it again as we continue down the field here, side by side, for the rest of the remainder to grab the checkered flag.
3 wide here, Lambros, Mashore, and the 15 of Bennett Muldoon also across the stripe. That was very close between those 3 drivers. That was very tight indeed.
No position being left unfought.
Watch this through Hogpen, turn 17, Jordan Riggs-Segrini. There's Casey Mashore. In the middle of that was that, oh boy, contact there with Matty Oust. They kind of locked together, and here comes Lambros to the side. And as they came to the finish line, the margin of position there between Lambros, Muldoon, and Mashore was just 0.04 of a second in that trio as they came to the stripe. What a battle that was, all the way down there for 14th place. So little bit more contact on the closing laps, but Spike Kohlbecker returns to victory lane. This is his first win in 2024. Ash, this is huge for TechSport.
Huge for TechSport. Even keep back Copeland Motorsport. You had Spike Kohlbecker, Gresham Wagner, and Jackson Bell rounding out your top 3 here.
Yeah, what a great run there for Gresham Wagner. And the second place from Spike Kohlbecker at Circuit of the Americas set him up for a win here at Virginia International Raceway. This is unofficial, provisional results here for VIR. We don't know what's going to come as far as post-race penalties, but for now, Spike Kohlbecker, Gresham Wagner, Jackson Bell, Weston Workman, and Alex Sedgwick. A great debut for Sedgwick, by the way, in the top 5 with Kohlbecker breaking through for his victory. Then Clemens, Weisenberg, Wettingel, Hewitt, and Weir locked in a fierce fight for that top 10, Ash.
Every driver here should be immensely proud of themselves. Mia Lovell here in 11th, with Jordan Rixigrini wrapping up the 12th. Braden Arthur 13th, William Lambros in the 14th, Bennett Muldoon 15th, Casey Mashore getting that 16th place with Justin Sofranis in 17th, Matty Oust in 18th, Zachary Hollingshead 19th, and wrapping up your top 20, Jack Woodfin.
We didn't really get a chance to talk a lot about Jensen Sofronis, but 17th place as a 13-year-old, unbelievable. And assuming the 21st place driver, she's a Japan TCR champion, Jason Kos, James Klimas, Jackson Tovo, the 14-year-old, runs 24th. Jade Avedizian still with that penalty, P25. Alfonso Diaz, Rumbert, Cook, Garcia, Drury, Ethan Tovo, the other 14-year-old, Ethan Goulart, and Devin Anderson running in 33rd. Now, Ethan Goulart, we saw him running up in the top 10, so he did not have the day that he was hoping for, despite having the pace. Let's have a look at the highlights from this race. This was a wild one, Ash. It all started with a bit of a late green flag here. After starting under yellow behind the safety car, we got our green flag a few minutes late, but it was unbelievable to watch.
This is absolutely one of my favorite starts I've seen here for this series thus far. That side by side, we're going 4 wide back here, which is something you don't usually see in VIR.
No, certainly not. Jackson Bell and Spike Kohlbecker, they were side by side. Bell sat on the pole, but Kohlbecker was giving him a run for his money. This battle was fun to watch. So was this one. Little contact there between Wettingel and Clemens. Henry Drury slipping through there as well. More slipping and sliding here through Henry Drury, making that pass complete through turns 11 and 12. Then this battle side by side through the S's. Clemens and Lucas Weisenberg, who was trying to repeat his victory from last year, didn't quite get there, but had a great show. After a short full course yellow, a restart where Gresham Wagner launched an attack on Spike Kohlbecker, but he wasn't quite able to get alongside him there on the restart. Then pressure from Jackson Bell and defense from Weston Workman there in the 13th. So checkered flag for Spike Kohlbecker, ending the winless drought that he had since 2023. Cars are pulling back into the paddock area here, Ash, and man, everyone's blood pressure was up for a while watching some of those battles.
I wish I was in the pits listening and being there with TechSport Racing. That roar they must have gotten when they had that checkered flag must have been an incredible feeling. Yeah,
and they showed up and really had put on a great show there. So let's have a look at the championship and how things are going to shift and shuffle here. And Gresham Wagner still leads, though, by a fairly sizable margin over Weston Workman. The big note here is that Gresham outperformed those that he was battling in the title fight, so he will still gain some ground. However, Spike Kohlbecker up over 100 points now and closing in on Jackson Bell. He might break up that Copeland top 3 in the points.
Gresham Wagner's at 153 with Weston Workman. Jackson Bell still running out the top 3 for today, but like you mentioned, Spike Kohlbecker in that TechSport Racing. So close. We have so many rounds left.
Yeah, Mia Lovell and Jade Avedizian battling for the 8th or 9th spot there in the championship standings. They fought for the highest finishing female award, of course, with the penalty there for Jade. She was not able to finish alongside or near Mia Lovell, but that was a great fight that we got to watch for the last 45 minutes. And here is Spike Kohlbecker climbing out. Deb Popolizio, the team owner there, giving Spike a big hug. This is a great celebration. And there's Devin Anderson there standing by with them as well. Devin, a part of the team.
And this is a great reminder that motorsport is a team sport.
Yeah.
It's your crew, it's your team manager, it's everyone who makes the racing possible, including our corner workers, our flag marshals, our safety staff. So thank you guys so much for providing incredible racing. And TechSport, of course, the smile on their faces is making me smile.
Yeah, and hopefully they can repeat this performance as well. Spike clearly has got this figured out, and he did last year as well. But there was, a couple other players in the mix that made it a bit more challenging. But he has done an exceptional job today in the most challenging conditions, a wildly changing track moment to moment, rain here and there and everywhere here at VIR. and walking over to celebrate with more team crew and crew members here.
So they'll definitely celebrate, but coming back into the teams, they're going to look over that telemetry, look over the review tapes, you know, making sure to see where they could have gained more advantages, more speed, and see where they can take an advantage for tomorrow's race.
And Amanda Busick is down with our winner, Spike Kohlbecker, winning in 2024.
And it is official. There's that Continental Cup, and there are real tears in the eyes of Spike Kohlbecker as he gave a massive hug to his dad, who's on the backside of this interview. I wish you guys could see the condition of this race car. It is definitely going to need a bath after this race, but man, it was a race that saw a little bit of everything. What led to victory for you?
We had some really good decisions on the setup. Been lightning fast all weekend long inside the top 3 in all the practices. And TechSport put together a great package. And there's a lot of people that come to the events, and there's some that don't, that follow me, and I want to shout out to you guys for watching. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Spike. And Kyle, as you said, his first win of 2024, an emotional one at that.
An extremely emotional win for Spike Kohlbecker, and more to come in Toyota GR Cup North America. This is a fantastic event. We'll see more racing from VIR tomorrow.